I'm sure y'all all heard about the GTA 6 leaker, CyberLeak, who's been creating a catastrophe for Rockstar right before their big reveal, the extended look on Netflix, right? And Legacy Killer HD has just released a pretty shocking video, kind of detailing the whole situation about, like, Take-Two and Rockstar sending investigators to this dude's crib. Okay, so let me just let Legacy explain. They've sent investigators to the crib of this dude who basically claimed that he was a friend of CyberLeak. Like, he posted on Reddit saying that the trailer was going to come on August 18th. And that same day is when CyberLeak ended up posting the leaks. So Take-Two's like, what the hell? And then he said he was a friend of, he said that he was a friend of, like, he knew him from a friend of a friend. So they were like, wait a minute. So, yeah, buckle up for this.
And it was them knocking on his door saying that they were representing Rockstar Games.
How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad on yourself.
Sorry, what's your site? Is it?
Yeah, how can I help? What's this about,
my name's David.
Okay.
I'm here on behalf of Rockstar.
Okay.
Now that is just the beginning of the situation, because next we have a 1-minute clip of this individual having, again, a discussion with these private investigators in which they accuse this person, Lewis, of knowing CyberLeak and concealing information about his identity. They threaten him, they pretty much say that they'll give search warrants, they're going to go through his electronics and track down who CyberLeak is. The problem, again, is that this individual, Lewis, was just making a joke online and had no idea what this was going to lead to.
Well, right, basically what they're saying is they're not happy with it. They're not happy with it.
They're not happy with it?
Oh, they're not happy. Obviously, what they're doing now is they're on the phone to the lawyers.
Okay.
So
I don't know what to tell you, because that's 100% the story, so...
Yeah. It's just, yeah, they're not happy with that. So I don't know if they've heard that from somewhere else or what. But they're not happy.
They're talking about me?
Yeah.
Okay, so what, they're going to get a search warrant for my devices and stuff?
Don't know. Not sure. But basically they're on the phone to the lawyers now, so they're basically... This is sort of like your last chance to say...
Is this a scare tactic to try and get me to fess up?
It's not. We're not looking for any fess up. We're not looking for... Basically what we're after is, do you know certain individuals under certain handles, and...
No.
Who are the associates? That's what we're after. Ultimately, that's what they're after, and I think they'll keep on pushing that, because obviously, at the end of the day, you put something out online, it's then guessed a date, just due to pure chance, which is hard to believe, being honest.
Well, the only reason I checked Rockstar...
And as you can see, yeah, the private goons, they definitely know what they're doing here, and this was just the beginning of a conversation, because as they alluded to, they got Take-Two lawyers on the line, which again accused Lewis of knowing who CyberLeak is and trying to hide his identity. And I have to next add that I actually had a conversation with Lewis, and he added a lot more details about what exactly has happened here and how this has led to just a giant shitstorm, to say at the very least. But he does go into detail about the specific threats that Take-Two Interactive's lawyers and these PIs used against him. He mentions how they already knew much of his identity, his travels to America, how the FBI is involved. He mentions the scare tactics of bringing about what happened to the 2022 leaker and how he's in jail. His connection to another YouTuber, Larry Lawson, is also brought up here. There's just a lot here, including how his...
Hell nah, they brought up Larry Lawson, the jewelry robber. I fuck with dude, bro. I fuck with Larry Lawson. He seems like a cool dude outside of the robberies. You know what I mean? He seems like a cool dude. So that's crazy that they're trying to connect him to Larry Lawson. Like, bro has anything to do with this. Take-Two is reaching at this point. They're genuinely panicking. They don't know how much access this dude has to the game. They know he just keep releasing clips every day, new clips every day. You know, he is abusing Take-Two and Rockstar. And I think they're genuinely panicking, trying to do anything to find this guy. Any lead, bro. It's like a cold case. It's like, there's no way, bro. You're not catching this dude, bro.
His family is a bit shaken based on how these events have transpired. But we're going to start first with how this all began. The first knock at his door, in which he mentions that he was awoken to all of this.
Yeah, well, because my mum woke me up. I was just got off a night shift. I was sleeping, and then she said there's 2 men at the door. So I'm immediately thinking I'm going to have to get into a fucking fight here. I thought I was about to get killed. So I start recording, and you hear in the first video that I posted, I sounded a little bit nervous, but then in a minute longer video, once I realised who they were, it was a sigh of relief to me when they said they were from Rockstar. I was like, oh, thank for that, you know what I mean? Because, you know how it is, but yeah.
So as Lewis says there, two men approached his door, they were looking for him, and he didn't know what these their motivation or anything. He thought that they were there maybe to fight him. I don't know exactly Lewis's history or what's exactly going on over there in the UK, but he definitely thought that this was going to be a fight or something along those lines, not Rockstar Games investigators there to talk to him about Reddit posts that he made. Next, though, Lewis goes over what he initially tells these private investigators, that he was literally just trying to predict Trailer 3. He didn't expect that this was going to turn into something as massive as it has been.
But I said to them, look, I just predicted Trailer 3 as a mid-August Tuesday, and it turned out that the leaks happened on that day, and then they fucking somehow tied that in with me and being cyberleaked. I was trying to annoy the people in that Reddit on purpose because they don't appreciate Rockstar and they were bitching about the game. So I was just shit posting just to troll them, and then it backfired, but it is what it is.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is an example of how jokes can go terribly wrong, in which you have private investigators by your doorstep not believing anything you're saying. And this entire fiasco is something that, who knows if this is the end for Lewis. Like, we could see an update soon that these private investigators are back and now have warrants for his electronic devices. But it definitely sounds like to me that this was just a troll, a joke. He just didn't expect that this is the direction that things were going to go in. But this is serious stuff, especially being that this is one of the biggest franchises ever, and billions of dollars are at stake, and they have everything. They have to track down this CyberLeak individual, because if they don't, there's the possibility spoilers and some massive damaging footage could get out. That's the big unknown that right now they face, and all of us. But Lewis next goes over the reality of this situation and how his Reddit account is very public, has a bunch of identifying information. It doesn't make sense why he would put out just there saying, like, I know CyberLeak, he's my BFF, we're friends of friends. It was clearly a joke. Unfortunately, though, the Rockstar community already was doxing him even before it seems like these Take-Two investigators were investigating him. They're putting out all this information about him, creating like a manifesto, so yeah, this individual is right now facing the full wrath of the Grand Theft Auto community because many of them do believe that he is hiding information about this CyberLeak identity.
Yeah, well, you know what the funny thing is people are going crazy, but why would I post something serious on my main Reddit account with all public information about me? I mean, there's so much identifying shit on there that I don't care about. Like, why would I do that? Stupid. I mean, my dad, before he passed, he was into all the cybersecurity shit. I'm pretty clued up on that stuff, and I know that doesn't matter. They can still bypass that, but...
So up to this point in time of recording this video, Lewis has released 2 videos showing these private investigators approaching and their initial discussion with Lewis. But Lewis next goes over what exactly happened afterwards. He talks about the scare tactics that they used, including the mention that the FBI is involved and are going to be investigating all of this as well.
And then, hold up, let me pause for a second before we even go to that. Why, okay, let's say if he did know CyberLeak, right? Why do Take-Two investigators think that he's gonna admit that? Like, bro, even if he did know CyberLeak, let's say he predicted it, he knew, he talked to CyberLeak, let's hypothetically say, yeah, nah, like CyberLeak told him that he was gonna leak it all on August 18th. And he really does know CyberLeak from a friend of a friend. Like, his friend told him that CyberLeak told him that, you know what I mean? The leak is about to drop and shit about to get crazy right before, yeah, So, like, okay, let's say he told him that and all that really happened. Why would he give up CyberLeak if he's probably friends of, like, mad hackers? You know what I mean? If his friend is a friend of CyberLeak's, then he's probably a hacker too. Like, what the hell? You think these dudes are just gonna give up the information just like that? Just because they asked him to? Even if he did know him, if you're not coming with a subpoena, there's no way he would say, like, yeah, nah, I know CyberLeak, this is what I know. No, like, what the hell? That could potentially incriminate him. So why would he do that? Like, you know what I mean? Even if he did, let's say he had access to a build himself or something like that, why would he even admit that? Why are these investigators showing up without a subpoena? That's my question. Like, at that point, why would you show up to even just ask questions? Like, even if he did know CyberLeak, there's a 0% chance that he's gonna just tell them he knows CyberLeak just because, especially if he could implicate himself. Like, what? And they clearly don't know where CyberLeak is or who he is if they're asking him, right? So even if he did know CyberLeak, I don't see why he would have any reason to give him up at this point, right? I don't see why he would. And I doubt that he does know CyberLeak, obviously. I think that this is just Take-Two reaching. They're panicking. They're trying anything, bro. They're like, oh, God. Like, this CyberLeak dude, he put the fear of God into Take-Two. He put the fear of God into Strauss Zelnick, okay? It's crazy.
They went back to their cars and they were talking to each other. I could see them out of the upstairs window in my house, and I think they were working out a new tactic or a different angle to come at me with, because initially they tried to intimidate me with all these big words, mentioning the FBI, and said they're on the case and stuff, and I didn't buy any of it. And then they sort of went back, had a chat, and then come back and then got the Take-Two lawyers on the phone, and I think that was their next intimidation step, but again, that didn't work. And then they sort of looked pretty confused on what to say. They stood there silent in my house, just texting. So yeah, and then they got off.
So next up, Lewis goes over his first conversation with the Take-Two lawyers, and like the private investigators, like that initial video that he shared online, they do not believe him. They do not care what he has to say. They believe that he knows who CyberLeak is, and they want answers.
So why
I
interview
spoke to
him?
the Take-Two lawyers, and they said, look, we're all sitting around the table. This is your last chance to be honest with us, or this is going to get worse for you. And I'm like, all right, well, I told you the truth, and I'm not going to lie to you, kid. And I said that. That's on record. So I was like, you know, you just woke me up, coming to my door with this bullshit. I'm not, I told you the truth. If you don't like it, you can f*** off or do something about it. So that's the way it is.
And yeah, as you heard in that video, he clearly mentions that the FBI is investigating. And I do wonder their role within this entire trackdown, if they are working closely with Take-Two lawyers to give them information on these individuals, to then contact them and such. It's unclear exactly what the FBI is doing here. But again, Take-Two Interactive, massive company, billions of dollars, them having more of a role with the authorities would make a lot of sense, especially because in 2022, they had a lot of access with the UK police and the FBI. They were all investigating the hacker, and that seemingly is exactly what's going down right now with CyberLeak, although this time around they're not having much luck so far with finding him, and they're just trying to find any lead possible. And I think that's what this is. They're throwing anything at the wall, just hoping that it sticks, but so far there just isn't much here. Although, unfortunately for Lewis, they are ready to turn his life upside down just off the sliver of hope that maybe he's being serious and maybe he's not joking and he is best friends with this guy CyberLeak. Although that would make no sense with any of this, because I don't think CyberLeak would be that sloppy. And I think that's the feeling that a lot of people have on this ordeal.
Absolutely. Look how crazy this is going on the internet. So many different conspiracy theories.
It is.
And they're actively monitoring my Reddit, and they see the that I'm putting on there. Because when they were in my house, they actually said to me, the lawyers have just told us what you put on your Reddit. And I said, yeah, I'm well within my fucking right to tell them what's going on. You know, you haven't charged me with a crime. I'm allowed to speak about it. There's not an ongoing court case against me. But apparently I'm being looked at by the FBI, so they're probably scrutinizing all my trips to America. And
did they mention that? Did they mention the FBI?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all on records, and they mentioned my trips to America because I've been there.
So they already knew that stuff about you. They already knew, like, oh, you've been to America. We already have access to all of who you are, Lewis, and all of that.
Yeah. So I don't know how this is going to affect me in the long term. If they're going to cancel my visas and shit, I don't know. But I'm not worried about it. I'll just see what happens and play it out.
Next, though, you need to understand who Larry Lawton is, because this individual, his relationship with Lewis is weaponized. So Lewis in the past served as a live stream moderator for Larry Lawton, and Lawton apparently in the past has talked about how he has some sort of relationship with Rockstar. People will have to track that down. I'm not entirely sure if that's actually accurate, but it's something that Lewis has said on his social media account. He says that he is a good friend. I worked for him as a moderator before his live stream. He has a connection with GTA 6, I believe, from a statement that he has made. But people, including Take-Two Interactive, seemingly imply, or they basically say it to him, that Larry Lawton, maybe that he's an insider for Larry Lawton, and that's the actual individual behind all of this. And Larry Lawton is a YouTuber. He runs a channel. He's actually interviewed people like Ned Luke in the past. He's also done breakdowns for Grand Theft Auto, but he's known for being an ex-convict, and he's talked about his experiences of, doing jewel heists and stuff in the past, and that's relevant to a game like Grand Theft Auto. He's had a bunch of mega viral videos in the past, but seemingly that relationship, the fact that Lewis was a live stream moderator, gets weaponized by Take-Two Interactive.
They tried to bring up my connection with the YouTuber Larry Lawson. So he came out one time. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a big YouTuber. He went to prison. He was a big jewel thief or whatever. And he does podcasts.
I've heard of him, yeah.
But yeah, they tried to tie him into it as well and say that his connection with Rockstar Games, because he's come out publicly and said in one of his comment sections that he's working with them on something. They've now said that he's my insider, but I don't know who speak to the guy regularly. You know, he's just somebody I know and I've worked for in the past.
Yeah, my view on this is just that Take-Two they're grasping at straws, trying to believe, I guess, that these intimidation scare tactics are going to get him to confess to something that I think he obviously didn't do. But they do go on to mention, this is another scare tactic, the 2022 leaker, and they use what happened to that individual in which they were put in a jail, although I think it's like some sort of asylum because he has some other mental issues or something going on. But they pretty much say that, look what happened to that guy. Could happen to you if, you actually do know what's happening here. And again, they don't believe anything he's saying. They don't believe that he was just hinting at trailer 3.
This is so ridiculous, dude. Trying to connect a YouTuber to it. Why? Because he was like a former jewelry robber, and he did heists and stuff like that. Like, what are we talking about, bro? Where he said he's working with Rockstar. How does that mean he's connected to CyberLeak, bro? How? Like, bro, his profession was in like actual like violent crimes. You know what I mean? Like an actual like robberies and shit like that. Like actually sticking people up and shit and violent crimes. You know what I mean? I don't think his profession is like cyber crimes. I don't think that's what he's well versed in. He has nothing to do with this, bro. Like, this is a reach, bro. Take-Two's so desperate right now. And I understand, their baby that they've been working on for 13 years is getting leaked. But this is their fault. This is their fault. They could have showed us a lot more by now, and these leaks would have been less impactful. People are like, oh yeah, this is what Take-Two's always done. Well, when you're releasing the biggest game of all times and the biggest entertainment product of all time, maybe you should do things a little bit differently this time around. Maybe you should show off a little bit more so people aren't so hyped to see a leak. I'm not saying that, they deserve to have this happen to them. I'm not saying that. Developers worked really hard on this stuff. I don't think that they deserve this. I think that they should have been able to show it in the way they wanted to. But I can't say I feel bad when it's like, y'all been holding this over the whole community's head. Y'all been almost like rubbing y'all hands like happy, like, we know they're salivating at the mouth for some GTA 6 gameplay. Let's charge Netflix like 200, 300 million to put it up there for 6 hours. Who knows what type of bullshit price they done put on that to get Netflix to put it up there for 6 hours, or to have it up there for 6 hours, bro. They probably got 200 million, 300 million off of Netflix to do that bullshit. 200 million to put a trailer up there for 6 hours, bro. I bet you the deal was something crazy like that. So it's like, bro, the level of greed right now. I get it. It is creative marketing. Nobody expected this. Strauss was right when he said creative marketing and he mentioned Netflix. No one expected that, right? But still, it's like, this is the type of stuff that you create when you deal with your game like this, and you try to keep it so secretive. You know what I mean? That's why these things are so impactful. If they had already shown gameplay, do you think that leaked gameplay would have looked as, like, the gameplay that they showed would have looked better than the leaked gameplay that he's showing? Do you know what I mean? Because it would have came directly from Rockstar. They would have had it in the best scenario for that gameplay to actually look well. It wouldn't have been compressed by Twitter or the website that he's putting it on and all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? So Rockstar could have avoided this. They could have avoided this, bro.
The lawyers on loudspeaker on the phone, and I can't remember what was specifically said, but they said, no, I told them the same story, and they said they're not buying it. And they sat around the table in New York, and they basically told me what they did with the 2022 leaker after they found him, to try and intimidate me and sort of pushing me to come clean about something. And yeah, so that's really all it is.
So yeah, after all of these accusations, all of these crazy theories that Take-Two lawyers and the private investigators are throwing at Lewis, they leave. But they don't, there's no definitive end to this situation because they literally just leave. He has no idea what to expect, what's to come, if anything.
No, they left. They were stood in my house. They were waiting for some lawyers in New York to call them back, so they said, and then without saying a word, they just left and drove off. Obviously I left the house, moved my stuff, and come back, and they were still there. And yeah. So I'm expecting to get arrested at any moment. It's 3 a.m. I'm just waiting for the front door to go.
So after this discussion about what exactly happened with these investigators and all of this, I did again ask Lewis, does he know who CyberLeak is? And he made crystal clear he has absolutely no idea who this individual is, and he said that in the most, many expletives were said.
Yeah, I ain't got a fucking clue. And, I was I put that post up saying August 18th. Don't ask me how I know. And I was just taking the piss, And then it turned out to actually something happens on that day, and I'm like, oh.
Lewis then further adds that he was completely honest with these investigators. He said exactly what happened to them, and he's ultimately ready for wherever this goes. Whether that brings them to court, he doesn't care. He thinks it's going to be absolutely hilarious if they go to those lengths with this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best part is that I was completely upfront and honest with them. And I told them exactly what had happened, and now they want to make it a big deal, so I'm all for it. If they take me to court, I hope they arrest me publicly. I want to be on news, because it'll be a story. I don't give a shit. I'll laugh about it in 2 years' time, and I'll be having a great time. So I don't give a shit. I'm just sat here smoking a cigarette, waiting for the door to get kicked in or blown off by SAS soldiers.
And like many watching, Lewis is another Grand Theft Auto fan. He's eagerly anticipating GTA 6, but all he was doing in his eyes was shitposting on social media, making a couple jokes with the GTA community, and didn't think too much of it. But when you're dealing with billion-dollar companies, they take this stuff very, very seriously, and this is the consequence. It really is a great lesson on the dangers of being a little too open on social media or making jokes about situations that, at least in Take-Two eyes, it's not a joke. And right now, they are struggling. They can't find this CyberLeak guy, and any mention of it on any single website, they are using that as an investigation tool. I have to assume that they're sending investigators all across the world for any possibility of finding this guy. But thus far, it doesn't seem like any of these leads have gone anywhere. Still, though, I did ask Lewis if he has a message for Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive. And again, a lot of expletives said, but he does have a message for them.
Yeah, you can go yourself personally, because look, I'm a 19-year-old from Suffolk, England. I don't give a what anybody knows about me or what anybody says they're going to do. You can come do something about it. I'm not related to this at all. I'm not scared by your big corporations and your billion dollars and like that. I do not give a come do it. Give me a story to tell. I don't give a That's my message to Rockstar and Take-Two and those lawyers.
Ultimately, though, the consequences of this entire ordeal isn't just something linked to Take-Two investigators coming to his door. It's also linked to the fact that people on social media are... Some of these diehard GTA fans will send just nasty things.
That's as much as we're gonna watch here. But what do y'all think about this situation, y'all? What do y'all think about this? Take-Two is not playing. Rockstar and Take-Two, they are not playing with the CyberLeak dude, yo. They're trying to find him, but honestly, I don't think they're going to find him, bro. It seems like he planned this whole thing out well in advance. You know what I mean? If he has a whole encrypted website with encrypted messages and shit like that, yeah, nah. He probably planned this out, bro. Like, yeah, nah. If he has an encrypted website and all that, then they're not going to be able to link anything to him. He doesn't have a Reddit. He doesn't have any of those other apps that... Or I'm not going to say he doesn't have those other apps. He probably does have those other apps, because those are... like very popular apps. I can almost guarantee he has YouTube or one other app other than fucking his website. You know what I mean? that he uses. Guaranteed he does. But he's not using public accounts that people would be able to link to him. You know, because he's been untraceable so far. So it's like, I don't know if they're really going to be able to get the information that they need to prosecute this guy and take this to trial and do all the shit that they want to do to him. I think it's just going to be a wild goose chase, a manhunt, you know, for a golden goose that you're not going to find. You know what I mean? For a golden nugget that it's not going to appear. You know, a golden nugget that is not going to appear. And yeah, I don't think CyberLeak's going to mess up here. He's going to keep using this encrypted website. He's going to keep getting people to invest in his coin. He's going to keep running up a bag off of Take-Two and Rockstar. And that's going to be the moral of the story, probably. I think after August 27th, we probably won't care about what he has to say anymore. Because if Rockstar shows a lot in the extended look, and it's actually like, you know, it actually satiates the people who are so salivating at the mouth to see something new for GTA 6. If it actually does that, and it's very hype and it's very good, it's going to completely blow this out of like this is not going to be a story. This is not going to be the relevant thing anymore. People are going to be talking about what Rockstar showed off in their extended look. That's what I think that's going to be in a couple days. I think in a couple days, that's going to be the main storyline, instead of like, oh, what's going on with CyberLeak? What's going on with this and that, you know? If they didn't do a deal with Netflix, they could have made this irrelevant the next day, because that's what they did when the leaker first leaked Trailer 2. When they leaked Trailer 2, Rockstar just dropped it like the next day, and they were like, "Oh yeah, sorry, it got leaked, so We're just dropping it early. We're just gonna drop it the next day. Fuck it. That's what they did. And that worked. No one talked about that guy anymore. Whoever leaked trailer 2, no one cared. I forget who did it. Like, I can't even remember his name. No one cared about who leaked trailer 2 after Rockstar just posted their own trailer. Right? Everyone was talking about the trailer that they posted. Everyone was dissecting Rockstar's trailer. They were doing the 50 things you missed. You know what I mean? All of the 50 details you didn't catch. Stuff like that. They were doing all of those videos once Rockstar dropped their own trailer. No one was analyzing the leaked trailer anymore because it was trash anyways. It wasn't, it was compressed Twitter, like Billy type of leak. You know what I mean? That, like, it was that type of bullshit. So it wasn't no, like, real good quality leak. No. So once Rockstar actually dropped their own stuff, it completely made it irrelevant. And they could have did that here. They could have made CyberLeak irrelevant in literally one day if they could have released whatever is in the extended look on their own YouTube channel or on their own website or whatever. They could have made him irrelevant in one day, and this wouldn't be a situation that's still ongoing. So them doing that Netflix deal directly hurt them in this scenario. You know, I'm not even saying like, oh, the Netflix deal is so anti-consumer and all this other stuff. Yeah, I do think that a trailer should just be available for people, but it's going to be out 6 hours later. So I'm not even trying to like say like, oh, it's the craziest. Like, oh, this is so terrible. It's whatever to me, kind of. Like, it's whatever. I have Netflix, so it's kind of whatever to me. Obviously, I'm not saying, like, that's a short-minded way of thinking. I'm not saying because I have Netflix, it's okay for something anti-consumer potentially to take place. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's going to be on YouTube in, like, 6 hours. So it's not, like, it's not the biggest deal in the world, in my opinion. You know, I do think that there's problems with it. It's not, like, a good thing that they're doing that. It would be better if they just traditionally released the trailer and marketed the game, obviously. That would be better, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world or whatever. But it has directly hurt them in this scenario, because if they didn't do that, they would have been able to drop it the next day. CyberLeak would have been irrelevant, and we would have all been dropping 50 details you missed on GTA 6 Extended Look or Trailer 3 or whatever they want to call it. You know what I mean? So I think that Rockstar put themselves in between a rock and a hard place with this decision, because Netflix is going to be like, hey, yo, we can't release this early, bro. No, we got a whole schedule. Netflix got a whole schedule with how they do shit. They're not just trying to release it early just because some gameplay leaked. No, they got a schedule. They wanted to release at that time. They've probably got data and metrics that tell them that that's the best time to drop it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to have internal things that they're not going to want to push forward just because Rockstar got a leak and all that, you know? So I think that, I think Take-Two and Rockstar put themselves between a rock and a hard place with this Netflix deal. Even though I do think it was creative. It definitely was. It wasn't something that anyone expected. You know, if you asked where was the next GTA 6 trailer going to be, I don't think a single person on this earth would have told you Netflix. We haven't seen a single person or prediction saying that across the entire internet. So it was pretty creative, but will it be helpful in them marketing this game? Will it be helpful ultimately, or will it have helped them in this situation? It will be helpful in them marketing this game. Will it be helpful in this situation? No. It's going to be the exact thing and the exact reason why they're still stuck in this scenario that they're in. So let me know what you guys think about this stuff in the comments below. Do you guys hate the Netflix deal? What do you guys think about CyberLeak and these guys showing up to his crib with private investigators? Is Take-Two just reaching for anything, just reaching for straws at this point? Or do you guys think that this dude might really know CyberLeak? I personally think that they're just reaching for straws, bro. Like, they're trying anything, bro. Bro, come on. This dude doesn't know CyberLeak, bro. Let's be real, bro. He probably just said that on an accident. He didn't know that was something was actually going to happen that day. CyberLeak probably didn't even know he was going to leak it that day. He probably just decided randomly that day that he was, not randomly, because he had a website and everything ready. So he didn't decide randomly that day. He did know he was going to leak it around that time. But who knows if CyberLeak planned to do it exactly on August 18th or what? You know what I mean? That might have just been how the cards played out, you know? Obviously, he did plan to leak it before. That's why I think he might be a Rockstar employee or some type of dude who has a connection with Rockstar, because he decided to leak it right before something major for them to basically ruin Take-Two's Rockstar's big moment, and Take-Two, you know, to basically ruin their big moment. He leaked it right before. If he had access to this at any point in time and could have leaked it at any time, then yeah, because he had to make the website and everything. So there was a lot of planning that went into this. So I do think that he had an idea of when he was going to do it. I don't know if he knew exactly August 18th, though, so that's kind of, you know. But let me know what you guys think about this stuff in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications. It's Wealthy XP here, tuning out. Be easy, y'all.